let's take an in-depth look at my 2023 Camaro 2SS. I did some light mods to the exterior. The reason why I did it, when I looked at this vehicle the first time I received it, I noticed it had carbon ceramic inserts. So what I did, I went ahead and installed the carbon fiber, exposed carbon fiber, rocker panel extension, and also the exposed carbon fiber front spoiler or front lips. Now I do have one item on the way. The heat extractor. I'm going to also replace the stock heat extractor with a carbon fiber heat extractor. I also covered the mirrors with the carbon fiber, and the carbon fiber overlay for the door handle is being also made. Let's look at the interior. Carbon fiber overlays on the door, steering wheel, and also the gear shifter well, and also the entertainment bezel has been also provided a carbon fiber overlay. Now the reason why I did that, this vehicle came with the carbon fiber from the factory, and I felt it looked somewhat naked without having the other carbon fiber. I didn't want to overdo it, but I did decide to do some carbon fiber on the interior. And that's going to be about it. You see the steering wheel with some slight carbon fiber overlay here. But let's look at the engine. This is my first time showing this. I wanted to extend the carbon fiber theme also with the engine compartment. And you see I have a cold air intake, and that is carbon fiber. And it's the Elite carbon fiber cold air intake. And I decided to also install the strut tower brace. And understanding the direct injection system they put on cars, my research showed me if I'm going to keep this vehicle a while, I should also install an oil cup reservoir. All right, and I used the Movavi. I decided to use that one because of the position that is required to be installed. I'm planning on keeping this vehicle for some time. All right, and I'm showing you this because a gentleman inboxed me and asked me, what do I like better, my 2023 SS or my 2023 C8? And I'm doing this as far as a comparison, and then I will then go ahead and go inside and give you guys a list of items that I did, light mods, and why I did it, and the difference between these two wonderful vehicles. The main reason why I decided to go with the 2023 Camaro SS, as we know, next year will be the last model year, and I wanted to get the model prior to that before they start doing some things to it that probably I don't approve of. So let me pause this and I'll bring out the Orange Crush. All right, this is my 2023 Chevrolet Corvette C8 Z51 hardtop convertible, and I'm going to do a overview with regards to this vehicle. explain to you some of the mods I did to this vehicle. I didn't do as many mods to this vehicle as I did my my SS, but let me show you what I did. I wanted to keep the theme, the carbon fiber metallic, on this vehicle. That's what the top it has, and the A pillars, the side mirrors, and also the boomerang. So we went ahead and installed the 5VM rocker panel extensions on the vehicle, and they are carbon fiber metallic. I'm sorry, carbon metallic, excuse me, not carbon fiber. And I did also the 5VM front spoiler with the side canards. I went ahead and put the Z51 badge on the vehicle because I looked at how they were doing the Z06 and also the E-Ray, and they all had performance badges on them except the Stingray. All right. And this vehicle is equipped also with the black carbon ceramic, carbon metallic exhaust pipes. So it has a different theme than on my Camaro. Now let me show you one of the mods I did to the engine compartment. Let me grab the correct keys and I'll open this up for you. Now I show my vehicles, and I decided to go ahead and put the aftermarket engine cover, the clear engine cover, and also the other aspect to this design. And I called the manufacturer, and they somewhat talked me through this, and I installed it myself. And I'm not that great with a hammer and screwdriver and ratchet, but they talked me through it, and I had no problems installing this myself. The only problem I did run into was the two-sided tape they gave for the this design here. It kept coming off, so I went ahead and used a little super glue and some 3M tape to put it on there, and that's been on for about 8-9 months through the hot summer also, and I don't think it's going to go anywhere. All right, but let me close this and bring the top back, and I'm going to show you the interior. It's better to do that with the hardtop convertible, to let it back. All right. Let's put this back. And I just became comfortable in remotely putting this top back. It takes you a couple of times, and you understand you lock it to put it in the maintenance mode, and you unlock it to put the top back. So let me stand back here and show you what I did. I decided to go with the carbon fiber theme on the interior, and the first thing I did, I replaced the steering wheel. Then I did the carbon fiber overlay on the door inserts, and also to the gear shifter. All right, but I decided to leave some of the metallic in here. I didn't want to go full carbon fiber. I didn't want to, I guess they call it like blackout, but that's what I did. That's what she looks like. All right, and I put the custom floor mats in the Camaro and also in the Corvette, and that's it. That's basically it. I'm going to talk a little bit why I have a Corvette and also a Camaro. I've been driving Corvettes since 1968, and I'm going to explain why I prefer I used to drive the Grand Sports, but they don't make Grand Sports anymore. And the closest thing to the Grand Sport for the C8, I feel, is the Z51. So we'll talk a little bit about that. All right, so let me pause this, put my vehicles inside, and we'll chat for a few minutes. Thank you for visiting my channel. This is David Wynn, and I decided to put this video together to explain a question that was asked to me by one of my subscribers. He was contemplating whether he should purchase a C8 Corvette or the Camaro SS. And he asked me the question, which one is better? And I tried to explain to him that the two vehicles in question are totally different vehicles. And for me to say which one is better would be somewhat hard for me because I purchased them for two separate needs. The Corvette is a vehicle that I've been driving since 1968. I've had 7 Corvettes, and the Camaro is somewhat new to me. This is my second Camaro. My first Camaro was a 2017 RS convertible, and I enjoyed the vehicle, but it was not a Corvette, but I purchased it for a separate need. I had a 2017 C7 Z51, but I had to undergo 2 total hip replacements. And my doctor told me that I would not be able to drive a standard shift. And I only had my C7 Z51 for about 7 months. So instead of it just sitting in my garage, I decided to sell it and to replace it with the Camaro. I had the Camaro for about 2 years, and then I decided to get a 2019 C7 Grand Sport, but this time taking my doctor's advice, which I shouldn't have done. Instead of going with the standard shift, which I prefer driving, I bought the Grand Sport in an automatic. And I enjoyed that vehicle, I really did. But let me share this with you. The Camaro for a long time was classified as a pony car. And I guess between the Mustang and the Camaro, there was a lot of hype with regards to the vehicles. And then Pontiac came on the scene with the Firebird. So General Motors had 2 pony cars, Ford had 1, and then Dodge came on the scene with the Dodge Challenger, and I believe there was another vehicle very similar to the Challenger, but it skips my memory. But at one time, there's about 5 or 6 vehicles that were classified as pony cars. And the reason for that, you go all the way back to the muscle car. Muscle cars were a larger size vehicle with more horsepower, but the pony cars was a two-door vehicle, but mainly it seated 2 people. Even though it had back seats in there, you couldn't really comfortably sit an adult in the back seat, and that created the pony car. But around early 1990s, General Motors and also Ford and also Dodge, they started to really move the so-called pony cars into the muscle car theater. And that began what you know now as different levels of the Camaro, different levels also of the Mustang. Now, I myself have never bought a sports car to compete in races, even though some of the cars I've owned were track vehicles, but they weren't like the Z06. They weren't like the ZR1. To me, those are specific track vehicles. The Grand Sport, even though it came track ready, and the Z51 came track ready, to me, they're not actually track vehicles. The Z06 and the ZR1 are specific track vehicles. So being that I don't track my vehicle, but I have driven a C8 on the track. I did track it at the Ronsfellow Corvette Driving School, but I don't purchase my vehicle specifically for that. Now, everyone has their likes and dislikes. I personally do not understand why I will own a vehicle with 650 horsepower and I'm not going to track it. Why would I want a vehicle with 800 to 1,000 horsepower and I'm not going to track it? Some people find pleasure in owning a vehicle that has that potential, but they don't track the vehicle. I myself, that is not a need for me. I do like driving a sports car. I do like driving and also a standard shift. So when the C8 came out, I went ahead and sold my 2019 Grand Sport, and I bought a 2021 C8 3LT, but this time it was a coupe. A second thing that I do with my vehicles, I show my vehicles. And that's why I mod my vehicles. I mod my vehicles so that when I do compete in a car show, I'm competing competitively. And there are different classes of car shows. I think the toughest car show you ever want to compete in is the CSSS at Corvettes at Carlisle. And they have I believe they have about 14 classes of vehicles that you can put your Corvette in to compete. But what they would do, they will inspect your vehicle prior to the competition and make sure your vehicle qualify for the class that that you're trying to enter. Now, I'm not going to go over the different classes. It's somewhat complicated, but the classes I've competed in the stock class, and I've competed this year. I competed in the modified. And in the modified class, you cannot have more than 15 mods on your vehicle. All right? So the gentleman that asked me, which one do I like the best? Let me share this with you. I enjoy driving my Camaro. I enjoy driving the 6-speed manual. And I also enjoy driving my Corvette, my C8. Now, being that it is a hardtop convertible, I would like to put the top back on that vehicle in the evening and ride around and do what I have to do. But my Camaro is not a convertible. It is a coupe, so it's not going to give me that type of pleasure. But the other reason why I bought my Camaro, that's going to be my daily driver. I sold a 2021 Jeep Grand Cherokee, but me being a single guy, it did not fulfill what I really needed a daily driver for. Now, my channel is named the 3-Car Guy, and a guy I met by the name of Griff, and his channel I believe is Ask Griff. He laughed at me. He said, "You got 2 cars, but your channel is the 3-Car Guy." Well, the reason why my channel is the 3-Car Guy, when I started this channel, I owned a 2020 Mercedes SL 450, and I also owned a 2020 Jaguar F-Type and my 2021 Jeep Grand Cherokee, and that's why I named my channel the 3-Car Guy. I also have a prospective vehicle that I might add to my little fleet. I'm not making any promises, but I have my eye on a vehicle that I will probably purchase so that when I do go to car shows, instead of me driving my vehicle, I can tow it. Now, I do drive my vehicles. My Camaro, I've had it for 1 month, and I have 1,500 miles on it. And my 2023 C8 Corvette, I bought that vehicle in January, and I have 3,500 miles on it. Now, let me share with you some of the mods. Let's look at the Camaro first. I decided to put some exposed carbon fiber on it because it came stock with some carbon fiber, but I felt that it didn't have enough or I should take it off. Instead of me taking the carbon fiber off, I decided to add carbon fiber to it. And I'm going to show you that in a video that I prepared after this presentation. This is the intro to explain to you why the vehicles look the way they look. And when I started on this carbon fiber, I saw a cold air intake. And when I saw this intake, I said, well, it's extreme carbon fiber. It's carbon fiber. It's a carbon fiber cold air intake that I installed on the vehicle. And then when I did that, I looked at the engine cover and I sent off for a carbon fiber engine cover. Now, the entire engine cover is not going to be covered, just the center piece. That's going to be carbon fiber. And then the valve covers on the outer portion of it, they're going to remain the same. I'm thinking about doing something to the letters, but it'll probably stay the same. And to add a little more to the engine compartment, I did install a strut tower brace. I did it myself. It didn't cause any problem. It was very easy. I did that. And I'm also going to explain to you also when you look at it, it slipped my mind on what it is, but it's an oil catch can. And I did install the oil catch can because I did my homework and I found out that the direct injected engines have a problem with carbon buildup. And I'm planning on keeping both these cars. So I did my homework and found out that the oil catch can will help reduce the blowback in the engine that creates the carbon buildup. And I started to put a oil catch can on my C8, but at my research showed me that, believe it or not, any dry sump engine has a built-in catch can. And I believe that when they do the maintenance on the vehicle, they go in there and clean it out and empty it. That's part of the maintenance. Now, I did see a gentleman, he's an engineer on YouTube. He explained all that, but he said that a redundancy is not bad. So he installed a catch can on his C8. I'm not going to do that because also I have a engine cover, a glass engine cover on my hardtop convertible, and I don't want to be able to look in there and see a lot of stuff. You don't see a lot when you look in there. All you do is see the engine cover and then that exposed see-through panel that covers the engine. All right. So that's why I did what I did. Now, anybody know me, they know I did not like the steering wheel that's on the original steering wheel that is on the C8. But when I saw the steering wheel they're going to put on the Z06 and also they're offering also on the E-Ray, and it is carbon fiber, I went ahead and put it on my 2021 and also put it on my 2023. And in doing so, I wanted to add, not a lot, but just a touch of carbon fiber to complement that steering wheel. And you'll see it also in the video that I'm going to show you after the intro. All right. Now, as far as the steering wheel on the Camaro, I started to look at it, but I like that steering wheel because they have a mark at the bottom of the steering wheel, a normal SS at the bottom of the steering wheel on the flat part. It has an SS insignia. Now, the model that I have, it is an SS, but it is an additional exterior model they did to the SS, and it's called the Shock in Steel. And I did some homework. I'm saying, what is this shock? Shock is the color. It's like a yellow green. Sometimes you look at it, it looks like it's green, and sometimes, depending on the sunlight hits it, it's yellow. But they call that shock, that color shock. I seen one Camaro, the entire vehicle was painted that color. That's a little bit too loud for me. I mean, I had to get used to the orange, but it's different. It's different. So the shock and steel, what they did, they put traces of that yellow on the center racing stripe, on also the kick plate when you open the door, and at the bottom of the steering wheel they have a silhouette of a Corvette, but it's in shock. The color shock is yellow, and I like how that looked. So what I did a carbon overlay over that. You still see the vehicle, but where it's normally black, that's carbon fiber, and I decided to dress the steering wheel up, and it has some carbon fiber overlays on there, and you'll be able to see it once I show you the interior of the vehicle. All right, and that's basically it. I cannot say what vehicle is better. It depends on what you want. And I tell people, I think the problem when it comes to vehicles, people will take and buy something, or they choose a vehicle that is popular for everyone. And I've done that before in the past, but then I found out it may be popular to everyone, but it wasn't really something that I really wanted. So what I've decided to do when I decide to buy a vehicle, I do my research, I do my homework, and something that's appealing to me, I will go ahead and purchase it. Because I don't need to, like I said before, I don't need 1,000 horsepower. I don't need a vehicle that can go warp factor 2. And I got a friend, I hope he's my friend, he jokes at me. This guy has a ZR1, he has a Z06, he has Hellcats, he has Red Eyes, he has all these fast vehicles, but he doesn't drive them on the track. He doesn't track his vehicles, and his daily vehicle is a Kia. That's not me. You know, if I buy a vehicle, I'm going to drive it. I put miles on my Camaro. I put miles on my Corvette. I mean, my 2021, I had the vehicle for a year and a half. I had almost 8,000 miles on the vehicle. So I'm going to drive my vehicles. So being that I'm going to drive the vehicle, it's going to have to suit my needs also. So I shared it. The gentleman that asked me which one do I like both my vehicles. But I'm sharing with you, look around, see what you like, and make sure that what you like is going to suit your needs. If you only have one vehicle, I find it hard to own a Corvette and have that my daily vehicle. Now some people do it, but I live in Jersey, and I cannot see me driving a Corvette in a storm, in a snowstorm. And some people think the same thing I have with the Camaro. But what I did with the Camaro, being it is my daily driver, I took the performance tires off, the summer tires off, and I put the Michelin Pilot all-season tires on that vehicle. 2 reasons. Because it's my daily driver. Also, I want to be able to have some stopping power. Now, on all of my vehicles, I did it with my Jeep. I take the Brembo brake pads off of my vehicle. Because, as you know, they create an ungodly amount of brake dust. And let me tell you something about brake dust. I used to own a limousine company, and I got educated when I kept looking at my wheels, and my wheels wouldn't you figure you put 200,000 miles on a car, and you have different people driving it. I found that brake dust will corrode your wheels, and I had to replace wheels because it was corroding it. It looked ugly. I don't care how much you clean it, it looked ugly. And I called him a yard guy. He told me, said, Mr. Wynn, you may want to look at ceramic pads. I didn't know anything about ceramic pads. And I changed all of my vehicles. I had 63 vehicles, but I had 42 sedans. And I changed all of the brake pads on my Lincoln Continentals, and I put carbon ceramic brake pads on there, and they don't create a lot of dust. They create some, but not a lot. Not to the point where it will corrode your wheels. Some people keep their cars clean, some people don't. I clean my cars, I garage my cars. So I changed both vehicles with the carbon ceramic brake pads. And I like Hawk, the Street Hawk. I like those. They don't squeak, they don't make a lot of noise. And it's very, very, very minimum brake pad dust. So that was a mod also that I did. Now, regarding the cold air intake for the C8 Corvette, it's set up for cold air intake. But what I did, I put the nano blue air filter. It's a permanent air filter, and what it does, it permits more air to go into the intake than the stock. Now, the reason why the stock air filter is not as efficient as you would want it to be, they don't want a lot of stuff to go into that engine compartment. And what they do, they make sure that no particles or nothing in there. So they put that real thick paper there to make sure that nothing's going to go in there. But their K&N make good air filters. Matter of fact, the air filter that's on my Camaro, on my cold air intake system, it is a K&N. K&N air filter. And it's a permanent air filter, so then when you want to change it, all you do is take it out. You can wash it. Sometimes all you need is just blow it off. The more you check it, the more you blow it off, the less you have to wash it. Now, the instruction said I'm good for like 20-some thousand miles. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. I probably look at every time I do an oil change, I'll go ahead and check it. And that's another thing I want to talk to you about as far as oil change. General Motors is saying 7,500 miles for your first free oil change, and with the C8 that you do an oil change and you do also a transmission filter. Now, in 2021, they weren't flushing the transmission fluid; they were changing the transmission fluid filter, and then it would bring it back up. Now, I found out with the 2023. They flush the transmission. And the reason why they do that, because when you break a vehicle in, your engine and your transmission, you got steel parts flushing together, and they're seating itself. They're seating. That's why when you first get a vehicle, it doesn't run as smooth as a vehicle that has about 3,000 or 4,000 miles on it, especially also with your transmission, a manual transmission. So what they're doing now, I have it set up for tomorrow. It's going in, and they don't do this 7,000 anymore. They go with regard to the percentage. Now, my car only has 3,500 miles on it, my C8, but I'm down to 20%. The computer knows the viscosity in the oil, and they let you know the percentage where you need to change it. I'm at 27%. They say change it at 20%. I told them go ahead and change it. So tomorrow when I go in, they're going to change my my oil filter. They're going to change my transmission and also my transmission filter. And I'm not going to wait to the 7,500. Now the Camaro's the same way. They say 7,500, but I'm looking at the percentage regarding the oil. Now what I did, and I do this with all my manual transmissions. I put about 1,500 miles on it, and then I put Royal Blue manual transmission fluid. And I found that is probably the best transmission fluid for a standard shift. People say it's very slick, and it really lubricates all the parts. And I've even noticed a slight difference in the shifting. When I'm shifting it from first to second gear, it's not as notchy as it was when I first bought the car. So that's basically it. I hope this information will help someone. The gentleman that inboxed me, I appreciate the questions. And let me tell you something about social media and what have you. We have some idiots out there. People will give advice. People will comment. They will formulate an opinion on something that they have no knowledge and they have no expertise. When I'm saying expertise, I'm talking about hands-on expertise. So be careful what advice and whose advice you take. I don't hold myself out as an expert, but I've owned 7 Corvettes. I've owned 2 Camaros, and my opinion based on the Corvette is based on my ownership. It's not based on me saying it's a bad vehicle, what have you. A lot of people are upset that Chevrolet do not offer a manual transmission on the Corvette. But I remember when the C6 ZR1, C6 Z06 came out, and at one time you only could get them in manual, and people were tearing those cars up. They couldn't shift it right. They didn't know how to shift. They weren't breaking the cars in right, and they were tearing up first and second gear. And then when you look at the percentage of people that were buying manual transmissions, I found out yesterday of all the cars that were made in the past 4 or 5 years, 1.7% were manual transmissions. People were not buying. People were not ordering them. Even you look at your foreign cars, your so-called supercars. They used to put those also in the manual transmission. People were tearing the gears up. Everyone cannot safely and comfortably drive a manual transmission. It takes time to learn. All transmissions are not the same. All cars are not the same. When I bought my Camaro, I had to take my time. I've been driving standard shift since I was a private in the Army, 1965. But a manual transmission in a Jeep is totally different than a manual transmission in a Camaro. And just because you have a manual transmission in your Camaro, I believe, this is just me, I believe that each transmission is different. And you must learn that transmission. You must learn the gate. It's called the gate on the transmission, and also the clutch. All clutches are not the same. Some clutches release low, some clutches engage low, some clutches engage high, some clutches engage in the middle. It's depending on how they set it up. You can't just jump in a car and start banging the gears. All right? But that's my 2 cents. I hope it helps someone. I hope it answers that gentleman's question, and I hope he sees this and he can add some more insight, add some question, what have you, because I look at social media is that when you share, you care, and sharing is caring, and we got some guys I think got a whole lot of experience. I've talked to people on Facebook. I've talked to people on YouTube, guys who are professional race car drivers, okay? And I listen to those guys. They know exactly what they talk about. We got professional mechanics out there. They understand why you should put an oil catch can on a vehicle, and what type of vehicle you should put that on. And that's information. And what that does, it helps your ownership, and it helps you as far as choosing and also maintaining your vehicle. That's all I have for you guys. I hope this helps someone, and I hope to see you soon. Take care and have a blessed day.